Good morning, welcome back. This is going to be a little vlog from my time in Bournemouth. I'm going with Marsham Court Hotel, which is an accessible hotel based just on the coast. And fingers crossed, it looks like we're going to have good weather, which I wasn't expecting at all. I had to repack my suitcase last night, but I'm not complaining because that is a very, very welcome improvement. Had a very weird night's sleep last night, or lack of sleep would be more accurate to say. I got up to go and have like a little walk around my flat in the middle of the night, which is a thing I usually do. And I don't think I fainted, but I nearly fainted. It was very weird. So I'm not on top form this morning, and I've got a long journey ahead of me from York to Bournemouth, but I feel like it's really going to be worth it once we get there, and I'm so excited to see the hotel. So let's blooming get going. I'm finally in, and you know, that whole journey went about as seamlessly as it could have done until that last bit. Had a bit of a strange journey with the taxi guy from the station to the hotel, asked some very inappropriate questions, but putting that out of our minds now, and I've just got to my room, so I'll show you around. This is of course one of the accessible rooms. I personally don't have all of the features because they kind of like let you choose while you're booking what you'll need, but I did ask for a profiling bed. We've got a lovely stylish adaptive bathroom, lovely nicely decorated. Here's a better look at the toilet for anybody who needs to know. It doesn't look like there's aircon in the room, but there is a fan, which is good because it's very hot and the weather forecast is scheduled to be very lovely and sunny while I'm here. Here's a look from the other side. There's a charging point down there for my power chair. There's lots of space to manoeuvre. I was also just going to marvel at all the nice wardrobe space, and I found another fan. I found a secret fan. Life is good. I will say that the accessible rooms are very close to the lift, where obviously a lot of people are going to be passing through, so I'm crossing my fingers that that's not going to be too noisy. I did notice when I checked in that they had a sort of good neighbour policy, which I really appreciated, and you signed it to say, I'll take responsibility and I'll keep the noise down between these hours. I thought that was really good because that's something I worry about a lot whenever I go anywhere. I worry about the noise disturbing my sleep, so I'll report back on that one. I left my house in York at 8:45 a.m. this morning, and it has just gone 4 p.m. So very long travel day. I'm gonna have a little bit of a rest now, and then I think I'll get food and then hopefully go for a wander if I feel up to it. I managed to have a little rest, but it's just kind of suddenly hit me that we're actually here. Like, we're in Bournemouth, it's going to be a good time. And I told myself I was going to have a really chill evening when I got here. I've had a long travel day, I've got time. The sensible thing to do would be to have a really chill evening. And that is still somewhat my intention, but I have also had the thought that I haven't seen the sea yet, and I really want to go and see the sea. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and get some food, we're going to go and see the sea, and then we're going to chill. So there's two food options at this hotel. There is the retreat bar and eatery, which is sort of like light bites throughout the day, more casual dining. And then there's also the Plantation restaurant, which is a bit more fancy. For these first 2 nights, I'm going to go for the retreat, so I will report back. I'm back in the room for the evening. I burnt my head. That's really bad. I had factor 30 on as well. Oh my god. Back in the room for the evening. I've just made myself a nice decaf tea. I'm flagging a bit now, I really am. My tea was really nice. I had a vegan cheese and tomato toasty with some chips, which is exactly what I fancied. After that, I thought I'll just have a little walk down and see what's going on. And it was so busy. It was like a proper thriving seaside area, which was really nice to see. Still loads of people on the beach even in the evening. Loads of people walking up and down. I don't know what was going on, but I was getting stared at quite a lot, and at first I thought it was because I put my mask back on. It was really busy down there, and in busy areas I do wear a mask, but even when I took it off again later when it was quieter, people were really staring at me, like not just having a look as they walk past, which is like the normal thing and that's what I've come to expect. They were like proper like stopping and gawping at me, and I was like, what is going on? I'll be straight up with you, it made me really uncomfortable. It made me really self-conscious. I was also getting a bit annoyed at the lack of dropped curbs. It was really busy and I just got a bit like, oh, I don't want to do this. And I was going to turn around and just come straight back, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to walk a little bit further out and see what's there. And I found this lovely peaceful green area. I just missed the Makers Market, which was a shame, but I found this like community thing for birds and parrots, for like birds that had been rescued and wouldn't be able to survive in the wild, and it was like a community care thing for these lovely birds, and it just really perked me up. Oh, I'm really flagging now, but I'm feeling very grateful for having a profile in bed right now, because it means at least I can elevate my legs a little bit while I rest, so very grateful for that. But I'm going to call it a night here. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, good morning. I had such a rough night last night, and it's when it happens more than one day in a row, it's absolutely grim. I am really struggling today, although I have just had some breakfast, went down to the buffet breakfast, and that was really nice, and that's perked me up a bit. Not that you can tell. I think I'm going to have to slightly adjust my expectations of what I want out of today. Well, I'm going to meet the manager before I go out this morning. I'm going to say hello, and then I think I'll have a walk to the pier, because that looked really nice yesterday, and hopefully it's less busy today. Have a little wander around the seafront, and then I might just come back and either try and get a spot by the pool if I feel up to it, or I might just have to come to bed. It's just the reality. This is the thing, even if you go on holiday, chronic illness just does not always respect the fact that you want a nice time. But it is important that I get some rest in this afternoon, because I do have nice plans this evening as well, and I'm still optimistic that I'll be feeling as okay as possible for then. And we're still going to have a nice day, even if things don't go as I originally planned. We're still going to have a nice day, but first I'm going to have another little rest. So I went and met Jane, who's the business development director, and she showed me around the facilities. They were the first hotel in the UK to have a changing places toilet facility on site, and oh my goodness, it was huge. And next door they also had a sensory room where people can come to decompress. It was very peaceful in here, and I could have spent all day watching these colour changing bubbles. After that, I decided the smartest thing to do was just to abandon plans and chill by the pool instead, so I grabbed a pool towel from reception, and one of the staff members helped me to find a spot and made sure I was comfortable, which is something they do for any guest who can benefit from assistance. Normally, you would have to go back into the hotel if you wanted to order a drink, but if you're a disabled visitor, they'll happily bring one out for you. And they kept popping back throughout the morning just to check I had everything I needed, which I thought was a really thoughtful touch. There were changing rooms and an accessible toilet and a portable pool hoist all nearby for anybody who needed it. And I can confirm that just chilling out in the sunshine here was a morning well spent. What a nice way to spend a Monday morning. My original plan was going to be to go and walk down to the pier first and then come and spend some time by the pool, but I just didn't feel up to it. I knew deep down I didn't feel up to it. So I went and got a lounger by the pool while it was nice and quiet, and I stayed there for about 3 hours. So yeah, I just felt really well catered for, and then I just went and had some lunch. I went and sat on the terrace outside, which just overlooks the pool. Oh, and I went in the pool as well. I was mostly reading my book, but I did have a dip, and yeah, it was really lovely. I'm still having the ongoing question over whether I can actually still swim or not, and I think I can for a little bit. I did swim a little bit. So when I was coming in, it was in the back of my mind. I was like, well, I could go to the pier now, but I'm gonna be sensible. I've come back to my room, I'm gonna have my cup of tea, and then I'm gonna try and have a good rest. And then before this evening's plans, I might try and go to the pier then, because I really want to do it. I want to make sure that I do it. It is mad though. I need to stop talking. I actually need to go and rest. But it is mad that this is a not a good day for me these days, and yet I can still do more on my not good day than at one time I could do on my best days. Like when I was more ill, my best days involved not as much as this, and this is a bad day. It's never far from my mind. It just blows my mind. I was thinking about this earlier. The last 12 months I've swam in a pool twice and I've swam in the sea with my friends, and if you'd told past me in 2014, 2015 that this would be the case, I don't think she would have believed you, but she would have been very, very reassured by it. So yeah, feeling very lucky. I've got the windows shut to try and keep the heat out because it is another very, very hot day. I'm all ready for an evening at the theatre, which is really exciting. I've got a summer dress on, I've got my nice-ish shoes on. I did have a nice bag, but I realised that I can't fit the book in the bag and I need to prioritise the book, so that's gone out of the window. That might sound a little bit ridiculous, but actually it's one of the things I've found really helpful about doing like a trip that's just me, doing this trip solo. Having a book, I'm gonna sit down, hang on. Yeah, having a book handy is one of the things that I've found really helpful. In general, I really don't have an issue with doing things by myself. I really enjoy it actually more often than not. The biggest barrier for me sometimes is having an evening meal by myself, and just the bit where you're sat waiting for the food. That's always been the bit where I feel a bit insecure and a bit nervous about it. But if I have a book, it's just dead easy. You're in your own little zone, you're reading. It's a really good opportunity to get some more pages in, so I'm making good progress on 2 different books at the minute, which I'm really enjoying. So yeah, definitely big tip there, definitely something I've learned from that, just having a book with you at all times, which is a lifestyle that I've lived pretty consistently anyway, but this has just reinforced that always having a book on you is always a good idea. But anyway, where I was actually going with that is that I'm going to the theatre this evening, which is so exciting. I'm going to the Bournemouth Pavilion, which isn't far at all from this hotel. I'm seeing a show called Illusion Impossible, which is a kind of hybrid of magic and variety and stunts, and I actually have no problem whatsoever with going to the theatre by myself. It's something I've done many times before. Actually, probably predating this YouTube channel. I used to do reviews for Broadway World, a theatre publication where they collate different like posts about theatre reviews, and I used to be one of their regional reviewers, so I got very used to going to the theatre by myself and just being in my little zone and doing my reviews. So I'm just off to have food at the retreat in the hotel like I did yesterday. Then I'm going to try and get to the pier depending on how long food takes, because I will do this pier if it's the end of me, and then I'm going to head over to Bournemouth Pavilion in plenty of time for the show. Risky vlogging while no one's here. There's a lovely smooth slope leading down to the main beachfront. The hotel is just there, so it takes you less than a minute to get to here, and then it's one road straight down, which is great. And look at that for a view. And look at all the people still on the beach. It's like 7 o'clock. That's crazy. And that's where we're going next. Did not expect to see this. Just chilling. Just having a good old time, aren't you? Can do a zip line from the pier back onto the beach, and I've been sat here trying to figure out if it would be doable for me, but I think because I'd have to walk and come and get the power chair. I obviously couldn't leave it and I couldn't walk this far without it, but oh my god, if there was a way I could do it, I would definitely be doing that. The pier was nice. It was mainly catered towards kids, the rides at the end and stuff, but there was like this big amusement arcade which was shut in the evening, and it looked like they had a lot of activities inside there as well. So the zip line, which looks so cool, and really beautiful views of the beach and everything as well. So I'm just meandering towards the theatre now, but I thought I'd come through the Pavilion Gardens again because it's so beautiful here and it's a bit more peaceful compared with down there. And I forgot to say yesterday, I talked a bit about the parrots, but I wanted to make a donation and I forgot, so I'm going to go do that now. There they are. I had to take a scenic route because I didn't think my power chair could get up a steep slope like that. I'm playing it safe at the minute. Janice is not thriving, but here they are. They're so pretty. Look how gorgeous they are. Look at the colours. Turned around and this parrot started talking to me. I was not prepared for that. I might have actually just had to like suppress a scream.
Birdie has had so many biscuits. I'm as sick as a parrot. Thank you for your donation.
Oh, Fluminette, good morning. Last night I had to make contingency plans. I went into the theatre, I got to the interval, and as soon as the house lights came up I thought I'm gonna have to go home. It wasn't massively heavy on the special effects, but they had disco lighting, and because I already wasn't feeling very well, every time these colourful lights flashed in my eyes, oh, it hurt. And yeah, if I'm being honest, the show, the night I saw the show, it wasn't my favourite thing I've ever seen. If I really loved the show and if I was really enjoying the show, I probably would have tried to persevere and make it to the end, but it wasn't really for me. I just don't think it really seemed to work as a production. It was very slow paced and it just didn't seem like it was suited or tailored for that kind of stage. I wasn't massively enjoying it. Although they did have a profoundly disabled magician as part of their team, and I applaud them for that. I thought it was really cool how they did that, and they did like this whole AI thing. So serious props to them for that. That was probably my favourite bit. But on the flip side, the theatre, Bournemouth Pavilion, that theatre was lovely. It was much bigger than I thought, and the access was great as well. It was completely level access from the door where you go in, into the auditorium and to the wheelchair spaces. Completely level access, no fuss, loads of room to manoeuvre, and still a really lovely theatre environment, so I was really impressed with that. I'm going to head to the Russell Coates Museum this morning. I've passed it a few times and it looks really cool. The building looks incredible. I've got to be back here at 12:30 for a work meeting, and then after that I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to rest because I've got fun plans this afternoon. This evening. I don't know, what is time anymore? I'm trying not to be annoyed at myself that my body isn't quite doing what I hoped it would do while I'm away, but I'm just trying to keep mindful of the fact that I've come a long way. I've got to do a lot of really fun stuff. Maybe I've not been able to fit in quite as much stuff as I would like to, but sometimes it's worth just indulging and taking things slower and enjoying the things that you are doing rather than beating yourself up at all the other things that you could have been doing as well. If it was anybody else in this situation, that would be the advice I gave them. So I'm trying really hard to apply that to me too. That's the plan. I'm going to have one more precautionary rest and then we're going to go to the Russell Coates Museum. Okay, work has been done, nap has been had. In a bit I'm heading out to meet my friend Imali and her partner Cam. They actually live down here now, so it's worked out really nicely, and together we're going to go and play Smuggler's Cove Adventure Golf. I don't know that much about it, but I've had very mixed experiences in the past with adventure golf that claims to be accessible, so fingers crossed this is one of the better ones, but I'll report back either way. And then after we've done that, we're going to head back here, and this evening we're having dinner in the Plantation restaurant in the hotel. I was about to say it's very hot. I'm trying to actively limit the number of times I say that anymore. I've said it so many times, but it's 28 degrees at the minute. We've got fans going all over the place, so fingers crossed we're going to be okay. to you how much my brain has just stopped functioning. I've just finished up having dinner with Imali and Cam, which was really, really lovely. I've had such a good time with them. I got in the lift and I was just there thinking, why is the lift not moving? I was just sat there for ages, why is the lift not moving? And it was because I hadn't pressed the button, so obviously it wasn't going anywhere. And that's about where we're at with mental capacity at the minute, so I'm not going to ramble on too much. The golf, Smugglers Cove Adventure Golf, was incredible. I really, really enjoyed it, and I have to say, although it wasn't perfect access-wise, although there were bits that would still be tricky, especially if you're a manual wheelchair user and you haven't got somebody with you, it was actually really good and definitely the most accessible course I've ever done. And then yeah, we've just come back to the hotel. We've had dinner in the Plantation restaurant this evening. Tomorrow we're setting off and starting the long journey home. Apologies if you can hear the wheelchair charging down there, it's trundling away. But before I check out and say goodbye to this hotel, I'd give you a little rundown, just final opinions, in case any of you are considering your own trip here. The location is great, it's very close to the coast, this hotel. A lot of attractions are really easily within walking distance. I chose to get a taxi from the train station to the hotel this time, but you can actually walk it in 15-20 minutes as well. And the town centre isn't far away either if you feel like you'll need that. The access facilities at this hotel definitely lived up to my expectations. They've got 5 adapted bedrooms on site, and you can have all different adaptations, much more than what I had personally. I loved the fact that the pool was so wheelchair accessible. There was just a really lovely gentle slope down. You could get to any area of the decking as a wheelchair user. If you're like me and you occasionally have days where your plans have to go out of the window and you have to take it really easily, I didn't actually feel like I was missing out that much just because I had everything I needed in the hotel. There was that lovely outdoor area, there was food, there was drink, there was plenty to see and do. And my final pro is that it's a family-run business, and I think that really shines through. They have lived experience of disability in the family, which was kind of the motivation behind all of the access and adaptations that they do. And the other really cool thing I learned is that they work with organisations who support 16 to 19-year-olds with learning disabilities who can't go down the traditional route of going to uni or doing an apprenticeship. Those people get work experience at the hotel, and the hotel is actually in a position to offer jobs to some of those people as well, which, you know me, I'm all for accessible employment, and I just thought that was a really lovely thing and just a really great way to show that you truly are a disability ally. There's only a couple of cons, and I always feel it's important to share these things just so you're prepared going into it and you know if there are extra measures you need to take before you come. This is the kind of information that I would always feel is helpful, even in situations like this where my stay has been really kindly gifted and I've had a great time. So just for your knowledge. The word I would use to describe the rooms and the facilities is well loved. So things aren't spotless, not everything is totally modern, there are signs of wear and tear, so I think just managing your expectations around that. On a similar note, there is a lack of aircon in the guest rooms. I imagine that normally wouldn't be a problem, but as I've said multiple times throughout this vlog, it's been very, very hot during my time here, so the rooms have been very hot. And finally, the thing I'm feeding back, the doors on each room, obviously they're fire doors, and that's a safety thing, but it's impossible to shut the doors without them making a really loud, sharp banging sound. That's a difficulty if you have noise sensitivity. But for me, the other side of that is if you're in bed and you're trying to fall asleep and a noise like that really makes you jump and sends adrenaline surging through your body, that really impacts my sleep, and I have to kind of like get up and start the calming down routine all over again. And that's the thing that I found most difficult during this stay, so I thought I'd mention that here as well, and I am going to feed that back. I am going to leave a link to the hotel in the description box. I would really encourage you to go and have a look yourself because it has been a really great stay. I think the hotel are doing brilliant things and I'm really glad to lend my support to what they're doing. If any of the team from Marsham Court Hotel are watching this, thank you so much again for having me. I really appreciate everything you've done for me and I've had a great time, so thank you very much. And with that, off we set on the long journey back home. So thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you're planning any of your own little adventures, there are lots of other vlogs on my channel, from little trips around the UK and sometimes further afield as well. But thank you so much for watching, you can subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time.